So we're back, and we are going to make shoes for this doll. Now, I will tell you that I have nothing to do with the design of these shoes and the making. This is all your plan, right, Jose?
Yes, it's all my plan.
So if you have questions or complaints, call him. Yeah, he's listed in the phone book. So one of the reasons we decided to do the shoes is because we have the bias pieces which cut up a lot of fabric or use up a lot of fabric. So she needed shoes, and we thought it would be a good idea to use up that fabric because you need to do shoes on the bias. So teach us your talent, Jose. So what do you?
That's no sweat. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to use 2 pieces of cardstock glued together, which I already did, and
Which is in your kit.
it's in the kit. Okay.
Okay.
And then
Or if you or not the kit, but if you bought the group of fabric. But if you're doing this on your own, you've got to find some cardstock.
right. Then you're gonna glue the silk file on it. On the brown side, you are going to draw 2 shoe soles, one facing this way and the other one facing down. Why? Because you need to have a pair. If you go like this on both, then you're gonna have one shape. You need both shapes.
Yeah,
it's different shape. Okay.
Yeah, but if your doll has 2 left feet, it's fine.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And then separately, you need to do the same thing. For again, this is going to be the bottom sole, and
The
you need
outer
to
sole,
the outer sole, and you need 2 on the opposite at the same way, like so, and then like so. Okay.
So did you used a white pencil for that?
I used a white pencil just so that it's visible for this video.
Cutting out.
They can use whatever they have as long as they are able to see
That
it.
shows with the video.
Okay.
Everybody thanks you for that.
We're going to use the peach silk.
And if you're doing the blue, use the blue or
We're going to use the lightweight ecru silk and the tarlatan.
okay.
All right. So first step, tarlatan at the bottom. Light silk. We're going to do this all at once.
Okay, you're gonna cut this all at one time.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. No, forget the tarlatan now. I'm sorry. It's the lightweight silk and then your blue or your peach. Okay.
And by doing a fold over, you're gonna get the 2, the right and the left, by doing that way.
The pattern, yes, the pattern is going to be laid on a bias.
It must be on the bias.
Must be on the bias for easier.
You have clumsy shoes.
Okay, once this is in place, Michael is always taking my scissors.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's an ongoing battle here with everybody's scissors
All right, ladies
and gentlemen.
and gentlemen. I think I should explain something before I do this, okay? So I'm going to take this off because they have a different doll that they're going to be working on, right? So the feet sizes, it's going to change. So what you do here now is grab this pattern, wrap it around the feet, and make sure that gives you plenty of room. Here I have like ½ an inch excess on the front, and in the back it's, let's say it's like a quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch, okay? So whatever your doll's fit
So
size.
don't you think this is a quarter of an inch, not a ½ an inch?
Yes,
Quarter
did I
of an
say
inch.
½ an inch? No,
It's quarter of an
a
inch.
quarter, and a quarter.
And an eighth.
And an eighth, a quarter and an eighth. If you need to enlarge that for your doll's fit, then do so. I'm gonna show you how. You just need to grab, let's say this is your doll and this pattern is too small for her. So I'm going to do this. Place that again the same way.
But and again with this, just like anything of this project, do a little mock-up first before you start.
Yes, it's better to do that.
I mean, once you get it down, you can do 100 pairs, easy.
In this case, I'm going to proceed to cut this pattern out, and I'm going to add like a roughly 1/8 of an inch. Why? Just in case if I need more or the fabric starts shredding for whatever reason. And I'm just going to eyeball that. I'm not going to draw it, okay? So like we said, if your doll's feet are bigger, then
Or smaller.
or smaller, you need to add or minimize at the side, at the back of the pattern.
I mean,
I'm
this
going
does come to comes to a nice little point, a semi, not totally pointy, but a little point.
I added like a 1/6 of an inch there, just in case, okay? And here, I'm just gonna follow the line. Okay,
Cabbage.
yes, it's in the cabbage pile. Okay, having done this, I'm going to cut my tarlatan in half. I'm gonna use the ugly scissors. Okay. I'm going to place the lightweight silk on a bias as well, on each.
This tarlatan, it matters, the bias too, so you just.
Now, facing down the right side of the peach silk. Okay, let me just pin this so that it doesn't move around. I'm going to place the peach silk facing down. The reason why I didn't want to cut the tarlatan yet is because when I'm using it on the machine, it'll be easier to, move it around as I'm sewing. So that's a good, don't cut it. It's like a tray, okay?
Mm-hmm. Cut it after the fact. And then you really don't have to worry about slippage either. If it slips out of, it's not going to go anywhere doing it this way. Now, one of the things is, although Lillian's feet are proportionately correct for her height, she's got little, very fat, little chubby feet. Okay, so we're going to sew them now.
At 1/8 of an inch. And you can do 10 stitches per inch on this, okay?
So you're going to do it really at 1/8 of an inch.
It's not working.
Oh, it's not plugged in.
Oh.
So you're doing about 10 per?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a little mess on the end, but that's not going to show. And it's nice with this technique, you can just run the stitches right off the. Now, this is a very nice little technique he's going to show you right now. This would be very hard to put into words, so this is nice for them to be able to see it.
Okay, pinning these ends. Going to proceed with trimming. Okay, and now I'm gonna clip the inside. These corners right here, we need to clip. Okay. That's what you have. Now, this is what's going to happen. Grab the pitch fabric. Pass it all the way around. Using your fingers, press. See how nice that is? It's a nice finish over here.
Now, I know a lot of people, when they make shoes, we see a lot of binding that they put on and this and that because they don't know this little trick of how to make a very sleek shoe. Isn't that gorgeous?
Okay,
So now what, we'll really press it out, or do you want to sew around or not press it? I mean, it looks pretty good without even.
Yeah, the tarlatan helps you a lot with, you know, you can press it with your fingers. Now I'm going to pin the pitch fabric like so, leaving the lightweight silk loose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to.
And what is the reason for that?
I'm going to encase the back of the part of the shoe.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, do you sew?
Okay. You bring this together.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent idea.
That way you don't have a messy.
Mm-hmm. I see where you're going.
Yeah. Well.
They need to pay us $20,000 for this technique.
You need to pay me.
Yeah.
I'll give you $3, Michael. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
There you go.
All right. Now we get to make some shoe.
Thread.
The thread is a problem right now. There's a global shortage. Thank God we have a lot of old threads to work with.
They're so old they can break very easily, but there's no choice.
Well, once they're into a garment, they're just fine. It's the
An eighth of an inch again, okay?
small
So,
stitches,
small
10 per
stitches,
inch.
10 per inch, okay. Going to clip this just a little bit.
See, that makes a lovely inner of the shoe.
See, it's encased.
Gorgeous. So now what do we do with the tarlatan?
Now I'm going to pin the whole thing together.
That's right, because that's just some over pieces, right?
Yeah, yeah. I left it on because it's easier for me to handle the the sewing on the machine, okay?
Yeah.
So
And
it's
this
a good
they
idea.
could do this by hand too, if they wanted.
Yes, they sure can.
I don't know that when you go to put a foot in it, that it's gonna hold together. I mean, shoemakers have been using machines since they were invented. Actually, some of the most earliest machinery was ever made was for shoemaking. And we don't want to fiddle around with this too much because we don't want to have the unraveling. So pretty much, once you get it to this point, it's a good idea to get it sewn up.
I'm not gonna use the machine on this. I'm just going to go ahead and sew it
You're going to do it,
by hand.
yeah. And now, is this a basting stitch or you're just,
This is a basting stitch.
okay.
Close to the edge as much as you can.
Yes, far to the edge as you can. So just do a little basting running stitch. But this is part of the construction. So you're doing little tiny stitches, huh?
I'm doing yes.
All right, so this is actually a running stitch. Well, we'll get this done and we will come back and show you the next step, which I'm waiting with great anticipation. So we're back, and teach me your talent. What's the next step we're going to do?
Okay. From the
Oops, let me get this camera under control. Okay.
from the back seam, I started basting the shoe. I started right like about an inch from the seam on the back. Okay, so I started there. I went all the way around,
All the way around.
all the way around, and I stopped where I began.
Okay.
Don't cut the thread. Knot it out a couple of times.
Okay.
Now, and of course, again, I clipped all the fuzzies here, all around. Okay, so I did that. Now I'm going to do basting stitches, like we've always show you how to do gathers, right? So it's gonna be like so.
So you're doing this is an overcast,
It's an overcast.
and you're doing it over the edge. Let me get in there close to show
And don't pass the first
line.
line.
So you're
Okay.
going it under that line.
Yes. Every stitch you do,
Pull,
pull a little bit.
because we're trying to get curvature here now, right?
Yes. And this is the heel side, so
I'm learning this with all of the rest of you, so.
again, from the seam on the back, you're going to stop about an inch.
Okay. You can eyeball that.
You can
But if
eyeball that.
Yeah, if you can't, but if you can't, just put a pin in,
Exactly.
or use a pencil and mark it. So you're pulling it,
Very gently, pull very gently.
and then you have
Okay, maybe a little more.
Yeah, you have a beautiful curve there. If you hear taping in the background, that's David getting packages ready for all the,
And I'm gonna knot it out a couple of times.
okay. So we've got a nice curve there in the back. Can we see that sitting down on the table? Okay, so you've
Okay.
done, you've done it?
I've done
You've
one
it?
already.
Oh, you've done one already.
And
Okay,
I'm gonna show you how to curve the front of the shoe. Again, I'm gonna fold this in half. This is going to be my center, and I'm gonna come about an inch as well, okay?
okay.
I'm gonna start from there and do the same.
I I know for many of you this is very, very exciting, but for Annabelle it's a snooze fest. It's like, here they go again. There.
Okay, I have come to the center of the shoe. I'm gonna go ahead and pull. Okay,
Oh,
see,
it's
curving it.
starting to curve. Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna stop at about an inch from the center of the shoe, the same.
Okay.
Okay. And once you come to that finish point, then you go ahead and pull the thread and curve. And knot it out. That's kind of what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we have another one already done, so let's look at, can we see them together?
That's not the shape, ultimate shape, but
Oh, there's still more work to do on this to get it shaped in.
okay, we have our inner soles glued with the silk file and
So this is the inner.
the inner, yes. I'm going to draw a center line from starting from the tip to the heel.
Okay.
Okay, so I draw a line. I'm going to cut that in half.
And the thing is, gluing the two pieces of cardstock together gives it an extra strength that, you know, just using strength but pliability. Don't you agree?
Yes, yeah, you need that.
Yeah, and this is mostly dry, but it's still got a little moist so that it. Okay, can you
Okay.
hold that up straight?
Okay, it's got a
Looks
nice
gorgeous.
finish.
Mhm.
Instead of cutting the one piece at a time and then gluing it back on, you make a mess. And
Yeah.
here's all three in one.
Okay. Okay. So
The
that's
silk
the
file
inner.
is gonna go facing
Inner.
the inner.
Okay.
Okay, this is a little too big. Okay, it's too big.
Your shoe's too big.
Yes, it's too big, but there is a solution to it. Don't worry. What I need to do here, since it's too big, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and
Do a couple more stitches.
gather it a little more from here, from where I stopped. Remember, I folded that an inch, and then from there to the other inch
All right. So just do a couple more.
gathers. Yes,
And you do it probably on both sides.
on both
it's-
sides.
So it's even.
You ladies and gentlemen can do actually the whole thing around, pulling it and curving it and making it fit this
Shoe.
the shoe sole instead of what I'm doing.
Yeah, they could just gem that out one. Well,
At once.
I don't know. I don't agree with that because I
No?
think to get the
right shape?
to get
Yeah.
the right shape, they kind of need to do that in sections.
Okay,
Because how you curve the back and how you curve the front, and then
And then
go
the
in and
sides.
do the sides as the final fit.
that makes sense.
I mean, these are couture shoes, so it's no different. It has to be made to fit Lillian's feet. So, you know, by the way, people, that this pattern is made to fit her feet. So you're going to have to practice it before you go and make it on. Your doll could have a totally different foot. If you had say a brew fashion with a wooden body, it'll have a long, skinny foot with big toes. And so this you have to work this. Okay.
Okay, done that. I'm gonna try again, see if this fits.
I think that looks good. What do you think?
Yes, now we got it, okay? So, okay, I'm gonna grab my glue.
And everybody has their own glue that they like to use. We use a woodworker's glue that you can buy at the hardware store. It's very, very strong, but if you need to undo something, it can, it's water soluble.
Okay, I drew this line for a purpose, okay? I'm going to place it along the seam on the back of the shoe.
Sometimes it's a good idea to let it sit for a second and before you go in on it.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any glue on my fingers because you don't want to get that on the fabric either.
And this is the fiddly part where you don't really want to.
Okay, actually it's best to do it like so.
And the one thing with this glue, if you do get it on, you can wipe it off slightly and it won't sting. But with this kind of fabric, you just have to be very careful. You just knead it into the space. And then once we get it all, it's looking great, but then it's a good idea at this stage to take the iron to just the little edge of the fabric. Don't you agree, Jose?
Take the what? I'm sorry?
The iron to the edge of the fabric, and the heat will pretty much make it glued down really quickly. So that's looking really wonderful.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to press this down, and it looks like you're doing the technique that they have machines at shoemaking and shoe repair to do just what you did.
Yeah,
I don't think
do it with my do it with your fingers. You know, press it nice.
I don't think we need the iron.
Look at that beautiful round shape.
It looks gorgeous. So we will get the other shoe repaired, and we will be back.
I'm gonna actually correct it a little bit. It's a little twisted. See how this line is coming at an angle like so? That's because the seam on the back is not matching this line. So I'm going, before it dries, I'm going to correct that, okay?
All right. So you're not perfect, huh?
I guess not. No.
We'll be back. So here we're back, and now we've got the next step to do, and the shoes are looking gorgeous. I love them. I love the shape. I love the lining. I love the interior. So now we're going to teach you something that you probably may not know. A lot of people don't know this, but Jose's home country is known for making phenomenal shoes. So it's part of their culture. And we've also had lots and lots of original shoes that have come through our doors for dolls that have been taken apart, reused, the soles repaired. So here's something you probably don't know about shoemaking. Do you want to tell it? Want to lay it on them?
Yes. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we see, there is a gap here. And when you place the outer sole, it will create
A dip.
And by so, you'll have this mark around the shoe sole, like a bulk, right? So,
And on cheap shoes, you see that.
yeah.
But we're not doing cheap shoes. Are we doing cheap shoes or expensive shoes?
We're doing expensive,
Okay,
very,
all right,
you know.
Okay.
Usually what they use to fill up this gap, it's sand, okay? We don't have sand, even though the ocean is just
Yeah.
3 blocks
well,
away.
I mean, we're people doing this class may not have access to sand.
So Michael had the best idea, like, let's just do it with salt. So go and pull out your salt out of the pantry.
And it doesn't matter if it's sea salt, if it's kosher salt. It just has to be
It has
salt.
to be granulated, you know, not the actual sea salt, because that's, you know,
Yeah,
big grains
it's got-
and it'll
yeah,
make,
yeah.
it's not a good
And
idea.
do not use sugar. So we want to emphasize that sugar would probably do the same thing, but we don't. The salt's going to repel bugs.
I have poured some salt on a napkin, okay? And I'm just gonna do this, pat the bottom of the shoe like so,
Okay.
until you create that.
All right. That's
Okay.
filled in.
Filled
you can't
in.
even see the. You can't really even see the brown sole there.
Okay, I did this one ahead of time, and it's a little bit more dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and coat this bottom of the shoe with glue. Oh,
And you probably we're rushing this, but you should probably really wait.
you should wait like an
Until-
hour.
Yeah, till it's dry.
I'm gonna do more glue.
Oop, oop, you just smack the shoe. And we're going to put glue on the bottom of the sole too, so that'll.
I had already traced the outer shoe soles, but I'm not gonna cut them up in this shape. Why? Because you don't need to do that either. The shoe got a little bigger, okay? So by placing, if you cut this around, that's gonna make a smaller shoe sole.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Don't worry about those lines. I'm gonna cut that off. And you should probably sit this around for half an hour or so, okay?
We're back and we've got the salted soles done. And now before we cut, we got a little ahead of ourselves. But before we cut, we really, both Jose and I decided that this is the next step before you cut, is to do this, which they're glued on. But what are we going to do next?
Okay, what I did, remember we did the salt on the gap at the bottom? Then I pour glue on it and I spread it all over the bottom of the sole with my finger. I used the brush, the paint brush, but that didn't work. So you need to use your finger and spread the
just
glue.
Gentle.
Gentle. And then you place it on the
Cardstock.
the cardstock. You're gonna let it sit. I'm gonna use some clothespins.
And these are easy to find if you don't have them.
And we're
There's
gonna let,
also minis. You can get the minis.
there are mini
but-
ones,
But
yes.
these we've been using for, well, years and years and years, because you can see one has got puppy chewing on it. That's probably Berlin. On
Yes.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we We're going to let these dry till they're good and solid on, and then we will be back. So we're back, and we did the salt on the shoes, and here's something that you will know, that we are 2.5 blocks from the beach. So there is moisture in the air. So when we put the salt on it, it created a little moisture around the shoe. It did dry up perfectly and did not leave any stain. And then we even tested it with a blow dryer. So it was just some moisture like you would get from steam or whatever. So now we're trimming the shoe, and I've given Jose permission for this segment to use the good scissors for this, because we want it to be very precise. Now, another thing that we should tell you is that, you know, we're trying to do this quickly so that we can not have this be a 20-hour video. That looks really good. So we did have a couple of little spots of glue that's got onto the silk. So how we remedied that is we let it kind of dry, and then we took our little needle, and we just kind of gently going with the grain of the fabric, just kind of picked at it. It didn't create any fuzz, just kind of like little bits. So, you know, ideally be careful and don't have that happen at all. But you know what? Sometimes when you get in a hurry, that makes little messes. It's really hard to deal with glue anyways, to not have it. So what are you doing now? You're just doing a little, you're done.
I'm done. Usually, if the salt does this, it needs more glue. Okay, so being very careful not to make a mess. I'm gonna grab a pin, and I'm just gonna go like so. Okay.
And I mean, obviously, it would be ideal to have leather soles. Sounds like somebody's delivering something to us. Can you grab that?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for that interruption. This is a real living place where things go on. So we've got that all. We've got that. It's looking really, really nice, okay. And the sole looks nice, and the salt really works for the evening things out. It's a flat shoe, and you know, as soon as we can, we will put it on Lillian's feet so that it gets a shape. And since it's a pointed toe, there's a lot of empty space there. She has very little stubby little feet. So I want to have her to have a more of an elegant, you know, Audrey Hepburn style foot. So we've got that under control. And then the next thing we're going to do is we will do the decoration. So we're back. We've got the, sorry, that was a inquiry on a dollhouse. So they just, even though the doors are closed up, they just bang on the door till they get someone. That's collectors for you. So we're back. We've got the shoes looking good. They're shaped. You can see they've gotten a little flared out at the top part of the shoe right in here. And that's just because Lillian Del Monte obviously is retaining water. She's got little thick ankles. But you know what?
Too much salt.
Yeah, Maria Callas had that issue too. So it's just life. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the bows. So here's the thing. Jose created the shoe completely, and I'm, of course, amazed how it turned, you know, that you could do this. But while he's been fiddling around, I have been working on the decoration because I got the fun and easy part. So I'm going to tell him how to do this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of, and this can be anything you want. It could be the ecru, it could be whatever you want. So we're going to take a piece of, in our case of how we're decorating it, we're going to take a piece of the coral silk, and we are going to fold it. Now are you folding it the right? Okay, because see where I'm, all right, you got it. Okay, so we're going to fold it raw edge to raw edge.
And we're going to press those down.
And we're going to press those down. So we're going to fold it raw edge to raw edge so that they touch. Let me just do that, and then we're going to do the other. And then once we get that on, we're going to just let the iron sit on it first, just a little bit, because we want that to be really, really nice and tight. Now we're gonna steam it, mist it with our misty bottle, which someday we're going to carry those when Misty Notions gets back to us. And now we're going to fold it over one more time, but we're going to leave a little bit of a reveal, just a little more of a reveal than that, Jose.
Yes,
just a little more.
Just a little more? Okay.
Yeah, just a little more. Because this is going to be yeah,
good?
Perfect. Because we're kind of trying to simulate the design work that was done on the bodice. So we're going to do that. The iron keeps turning off, so. And then we'll just let it sit there on it for a second, because we want this down really nice and tight.
You can
okay.
This a little, just a little.
Just a little. And just let it sit. Right, I think that's going to be good, because we're going to be doing stuff to it. So then, once we get that in, we are going to put it through our buckle.
Do they have to be the same?
Yeah, they have to be the same. So I cut that, but it's 7 inches. So that looks shorter than 7 inches. So let's see what I figured that at. So you want to measure that? Because I will amend my...
Okay, well, I was cutting it at this same size over here.
Yeah, so it's 5 inches, isn't it?
4 3/4.
Okay, so 4 3/4. So forget what I said earlier. It's 1 inch wide, but it's going to be 4 3/4. Sorry, sometimes I lose my place because he's working and I'm watching what he's doing instead of watching it through the camera lens.
Okay.
So we're going to weave it through this buckle, and we will have some buckles available in the boutique. So the original prototype we used antique ones.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Okay, so next step is we are going to take these ends, end to end, and gather them together. And I got a needle for you threaded already.
Thank you so much. You saved my life.
You know, it's one of my minis, so you'll have to deal with it. Okay, but doing it the opposite direction, though. Okay, there
like
you
this?
go.
Okay.
Yes, you're going to sew those two pieces together.
Okay.
Okay, then the next thing, we're going to take that little, and we're going to, you got it. We're going to sew that onto the center. So we're going to make a center. Okay, now we're going to take these ends here and we're going to gather them up into the center. Okay, now we're going to do it on the other side.
Okay, I'm gonna clip a little bit of this excess right here. Knot it out.
Knot it out, but don't take it away yet. Okay, now that's looking very nice. Now we have one more thing to do. So we're going to take a little scrap of our lace, which is 5 inches. So we're going to take this out and we're going to fold over each corner. You don't have to press it. You can just do it with your fingers. You're going to fold over each corner. No. Just make a fold. Yeah. Make a fold. All right. And at the header, which is the top, you're just going to gather it. Just gather it. Now there is a thread in this that you can pull and just get the lace to gather, but I don't like to do that because it makes it too I like to have more control with the needle and thread. Because, you know, as Jose says, I am quality controlling.
Of course, if you have any questions or anything, drop me an email and I'll get back to you. I promise. Okay. All right. Thanks, Vernon. All right. Bye.
So we're going to make a little lace cushion for our bows to sit on. And then we just have gathering a little fold there because we don't want a little raw edge showing. And then we just pull it tight together. And then we knot it off, but don't clip it because we can take advantage of that. All right, so then we kind of just fluff it out so it looks really nice. And then that's going to be the back cushion of the bow. So we're going to put that behind it. It'll give us some nice contrast so we don't have the bows sitting on the shoe without any I've got another one for you to put on the other side. Already done. But you know what? I kind of like that like that.
With
What do you
only
think?
one? Yeah, I think one is
I
good.
think I like that with only one. See, you can change your mind as you're doing it. I visualized it on both sides, but I actually kind of like it on the just coming out the top. So let's decide. So let's look and see how it looks on the shoe itself. So let's pick a shoe and see, do we want to do that or do we want to, but I think it should go the opposite way with the lace. That's it. So that's what I want. So we're going to go ahead and sew those on, and we'll show you the finished product. And the last thing we're going to do is our last little bit of fiddling with finger pressing the final products. So we are at the end game of this. So normally in our daily life here, this last little step I would be doing, but since I can't be working with the camera and do it at the same time, Jose's going to do this. So this is what we would call finger pressing. So we're going to go and do all the things. If you see that, like for instance, this is the smaller size and it's happening on the bigger size too. We want the lace to be fluffy. So what we're going to do is we're going to fluff it out with our fingers, and we're going to see how much prettier that is. And then we're going to, once we get everything the way we want it on the sleeves too, we are then going to lightly mist it with our misting bottle. And you don't want to use an iron on it at this point because you'll take out all the pleats that you've put in. And then we're going to straighten out all of the box pleats so that everything looks good, and we want everything laying in the right direction. And so you have to do this by hand. You can't, there's no other way to do it. And we'll just do that on all over. And now, this might be a time if we decide that the bows on the side are too exuberant, we might want to tack them down. But I think if we just finger press them and mist them, it'll all work. And of course, Annabelle's in here. See that just that little bit just makes it lay better. We'll do that over there too. Just to get it in a nice little. And if you're working with your dolls in your case, putting them in the case, getting them ready, you should be doing this too. Just doing that. Don't just shove them in. Make sure everything is laying properly. The back looks really good. So once we get her just the way we want, then we're going to mist her, and then she'll dry and she'll look fantastic. And this is these are really, really wonderful tools to have because it doesn't squirt out water all over and cause dribbles. It's just very, very light. It's not going to hurt the fabric in any way. David went to the market across the street and got us some ice cream because we've been very good little boys working hard. And you've got the bows in the back looking gorgeous. Let me come over there to have that peek on that. And this is the smaller version. So again, you can see that it's looking very nice. These bows are a little bit, they're a little, sticking out, but they've been rolled up for almost 70 years, so the fabric's going to have to get used to that. So that's looking really, really good. And the ruffles, I think, are all looking nice. So while I'm over here, why don't we do the back of Lillian's costume too? Getting it. So it's looking good. Now she's got all her weights in, and that's really making the gown look fabulous. We haven't put the weights in the, in all honesty, in the smaller version because we wanted to get this so that you all have this video. So that's looking good. We want a little bit of that showing because that's a wonderful contrast. And those bows look gorgeous. I will tell you that one of the most difficult parts of this whole class is really lacing up the backs. So you really make sure when you make your loops or your holes for the lacing, make sure they're big enough to accommodate the, it worked, but I wrestled with it. But that's why it fits so beautifully. So then we'll look at the front. And see, we've got a little bit of our ruffles because we've been handling it so much, are flowing in all different directions. So we've got to get it going in one direction. Again, the bows just need to be, we're just using regular tap water. We have decent water here, but if you've got bad water, you might want to use soft or bottled water or soft water. So this is what we do. You know, we use irons, we do all those things. We also get in and just use our hands and do it's called finger pressing. And this is a good technique too if you're working with really delicate old fabric. See how nice that looks. It's a way to do it without taking iron to something. I also use this technique when I'm working with modern dolls like that have rayon and nylon, and you don't really want to press them out. This works great for that too. Yeah, see, she's gotten her This is not something that is usually in Jose's job description because this is what goes over to me, and then I do all this. But he can do anything, so. And when I'm done with it, I bring it to show them, and if they don't say it looks fabulous, they're in trouble, right?
Yep, in very big trouble.
And I had a little extra malfunctioning bow, so we used that. We don't waste anything. I thought that would make a great hair ornament for Lillian. And it looks to me that all we have to do is fluff up the lace a little bit around the neck, and we're done. So I'll let you do that. And there's the Forget-Me-Not Blue, the first prototype that we did, and then this is the second, and then this is the first of the little one. This is a really great technique for this kind of very fluffy lace, that how we sewing two pieces together. So I expect to see this on other costumes that people are doing. Get that center because it drives me crazy. And Lillian picked up a little brooch because she thought, well, that Doliak has a Georgian diamonds. I need to get out my Georgian diamonds. So Jose's just fluffing it around with
With a big needle.
big needle, not the pointed end, but we just have to do a little on this side, and then I think it's ready. I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're good. Well, I bet you're glad this is over.
Me?
We'll get back to regular programming. Anyways, it was a lot of fun working with all of you, and I hope you enjoy your projects. And we will see you again next time. You want to say goodbye to everybody, Jose?
Yeah, goodbye and thank you. That was fun. Looking forward to another exotic design.
Okay, all right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye, friends.